Once again, good morning. So, sorry again for the interruption due to power interruption. So, to continue with our pre-bid conference, may I call in Engineer Dagimol to discuss the two remaining projects, 26KK0027 and 26KK0042.
Social Work Fund, MVUC, Motor Vehicle Usage Charge, as per IA 1159, which is installation or application of road safety facilities, roadway lighting, along Butuan City, Kaulayanan City, Iligan City Road, kilometer plus minus 782, to kilometer 1280 plus minus 547, and kilometer 23 plus 160. For the application, Sun and CEO 7 61 segments, segment 1 minus 782 to the 80 plus 547, which is which had segment 2 0. Is for 11 is system of watts, installation of solar street lighting, 100 watts, 3 meters ang battery, na arrangement. All the batteries are mounted in central in the middle of the escaping. So muna natin typical section. Next, so muna atong design sa medium island. Next is for Balingasag, building is 6 kay 2 segments man siya. Professional safety and health, traffic management, mobilization, nata removal sa carriage way nga sa pedestal sa ako ang kuan solo, so removal sa yung asphalt. Nata sa plastic excavation, structure excavation, foundation fill, embankment, sapid declaration, aggregate service cost, and pilihan nato ang asphalt, municipal asphalt, bituminous, and C2, mas na ako, using steel grade 42, structural concrete, sa pedestal, structural concrete painting works, atay concrete core, natay sign sa pedestrian crossing, atay permit markings nga white o yellow, fishing topsoil para sa island, landscaping, professional thermoplastic paint markings, lighting, landscaping, after sa island, and CHB sa island.
Thank you, Engineer Raxo. So, any clarification or queries from our observers from online? So, none. So, let's proceed to the last project.
So, last project for this morning is 26KK0042. Construction of road Salay to Barangay times ng C is 29,696,739.26. So yung length is station 0 plus 004 station 0+950, which is 950 millimeter with duration of 171 calendar days. So the scope of works is construction of concrete road, two lanes na 5 meter ang width, 0.2 ang thickness, na type paving of shoulder na 0.6, na 15 ang thickness, na ay removal of trees, na ay construction of line canal, construction of slope protection, and ay installation sa CPC, which is sa culvert. So, na ano na siya, yung bilo, quantities na siya. So, bilo quantities na tayo construction of field office for the engineer. Saan, billboard na to upat, yung safety and health, traffic management, mobilization, na tayo quantities na criminal excavation, addition fee para sa atong RCPC, and excavation sa RCPC, development, Barangay, subject declaration, aggregate service cost, and sa atong shoulder, PCCP na 15, and sa atong main carriageway is 0.2 ang thickness, 311 1B1, atong steel gate 40, structural concrete, sa catch basin, at culverts na 14 meters, 14 each, atay water drip pipe, stone masonry, seedlings and saplings, and last is revitalized thermoplastic pavement markings. That's all.
Thank you, Engineer Raxo. So I would just like to reiterate regarding the individual removal of trees. Item 103A1, that the tree cutting permit will be taken care of by the local government unit of this project, Sugbongcogon Misamis Oriental.
Salay, ma'am.
Salay, Misamis Oriental. So are there any clarifications, questions online? So none so far. May I request the head of the BAC Secretariat to discuss the bidding procedures and documentary requirements for eligibility, technical and financial documents, and the important dates or schedule of the next procurement activity.
Procurement of civil works. Documents comprising the bid. Technical and financial components. For the eligibility requirements, bidders are required to submit the following documents. First, a field job certificate of registration with platinum membership. Second, a statement of all ongoing government and private contracts. Third, a statement of the bidder's single largest completed contract or SLCC. Fourth, the bidder's computation of the net financial contracting capacity or NFCC. Finally, for joint ventures, a joint venture agreement or JVA in accordance with Republic Act number 4566, otherwise known as the Contractor's License Law and its implementing rules and regulations. Please be reminded that the failure of the bidder to update their field job certificate of registration with the current and updated supporting documents shall result in the automatic suspension of the bidder's certificate. For the single largest completed contract, or SLCC, the bidder must have completed a contract similar to the project being bid. The value of the SLCC, adjusted to current prices using the PSA consumer price indices, must be at least 50% of the approved budget for the contract to be bid. However, contractors under small A and small B categories who do not have similar experience may still be allowed to bid, provided that the cost of the contract does not exceed the allowable range of contract cost of their registration, in accordance with PCAP guidelines. Please note that the SLCC must be supported by an owner's certificate of final acceptance issued by the project owner other than the contractor. Alternatively, a final rating of at least satisfactory in the CPES or a similar performance and monitoring system may be submitted. For contracts with the private sector, an equivalent supporting document shall be required. For the net financial contracting capacity, or NFCC, the bidder's computed NFCC must be at least equal to the approved budget for the contract to be bid. The NFCC is calculated using the prescribed formula as shown. The values of the current assets and current liabilities of domestic bidders shall be based on their latest audited financial statements. Joint ventures may participate in the bidding process, provided that the primary purpose of each member is similar or related to the requirements of the project. Each member of the joint venture shall be jointly and severally liable to the procuring entity in case of any breach or failure to comply with the project requirements. For the submission and receipt of bids, each bid shall consist of two components, the technical component and the financial component. These components must be placed in separate sealed envelopes and submitted simultaneously. Bids shall be received by the Bids and Awards Committee, or BAC, on the date, time, and place specified in the invitation to bid. The first bid envelope shall contain the technical documents, which must include at the least a FieldJet certificate of registration under Platinum membership, B, PCAB license and registration in the case of a joint venture, C, statement of all ongoing government and private contracts, D, statement of the single largest completed contract, or SLCC, E, computation of the net financial contracting capacity, or NFCC, F, joint venture agreement if applicable, and G, bid security in the prescribed form, amount, and validity period. H, project requirements, which shall include the following. 1, the organizational chart for the procurement project to be bid. 2, the list of contractors' personnel. For example, project manager, project engineers, materials engineers, and foremen to be assigned to the project, along with their complete qualifications and experience. 3, the list of contractors' major equipment units, whether owned, leased, or under purchase agreements, supported by proof of ownership or certification of availability from the equipment lessor or vendor for the duration of the project. 4, omnibus sworn statement in accordance with section 54.3 of this IRR. 5, latest general information sheet, GIS, reflecting the beneficial ownership information, BOI, duly received by the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, for corporations. The following forms are for your reference. For bid security, all bids under competitive procurement methods must be accompanied by a bid security. The bid security serves as a guarantee that the bidder will enter into a contract if awarded the project. The bidder shall submit either a bid securing declaration or any form of bid security in an amount not less than the required percentage of the ABC, according to the following schedule. Cash or cashier's or manager's check issued by a bank, 2% of the ABC, bank draft or guarantee or irrevocable letter of credit issued by a bank, 5% of the ABC, surety bond callable upon payment issued by a surety or insurance company, 5% of the ABC. The omnibus sworn statement must be executed by the bidder or by its duly authorized representative. It should contain the requirements outlined in section 54.3 of the implementing rules and regulations of RA 12,009, contractors' key personnel. The key personnel should meet the following number of years' work experience. The experience means total years of civil works experience of any nature in construction and engineering consultancy service. Include the tax identification number or TIN of the key personnel. Compliance to DEO. 98 series of 2016. Revised guidelines on the accreditation of contractors, consultants, materials engineer, and to include the contact number of the materials engineer. Compliance to DEO. 148 series of 2024. Guidelines in the accreditation and assignment of contractors and consultants project engineer. If a proposed key technical personnel is an employee of the bidder and working on another project at the time of the bidding, the bidder shall submit a certification that 1. The personnel will be pulled out from the ongoing project once the bidder is awarded the contract, and 2. He or she will be replaced with another person with equal or better qualifications as certified by the head of the implementing office, pursuant to Department Order Number 9, Series 2012. The proposed key personnel and replacement must be named in the bidding document. The following are the key personnel required. 1 project manager with 5 years of general experience and 5 years of relevant experience. A valid and updated government issued ID with 3 signatures should be attached. The second is 1 project engineer with 3 years of general experience, 3 years of relevant, and is a DPWH accredited project engineer. A valid and updated government issued ID with 3 signatures should be attached, including their project engineer certificate. The third personnel is one materials engineer who is a DPWH accredited materials engineer. A valid and updated government issued ID with 3 signatures should be attached, as well as their materials engineer certificate. The fourth personnel is one foreman who has 5 years of general experience and 3 years of relevant experience. A valid and updated government issued ID with 3 signatures should be attached. The fifth personnel is one safety officer 2, with 5 years of general experience and 3 years of relevant experience. A valid and updated government issued ID with 3 signatures should be attached, as well as their certificate of training issued by DOLE. The last personnel is one full-time health personnel. A valid and updated government issued ID with 3 signatures should be attached, as well as their certificate of training. For contractors' major equipment units, the contractor must provide proofs of ownership or other supporting documents for equipment that is owned, leased, or under purchase agreements. For leased or purchased equipment, a certificate of availability from the lessor or vendor must be submitted for the duration of the project. Proofs of ownership and supporting documents must specify model and year, capacity, performance, or size, plate number, motor number, body number, chassis serial number, engine serial number, specific location and condition of the equipment. These requirements are in accordance with Department Order 58, Series of 2012. For contractors' minimum materials testing equipment, refer to Department Order 11, Series of 2017 for the required equipment. The second bid envelope shall contain the following financial documents: original of duly signed and accomplished financial bid form, original of duly signed pricing in the bill of quantities, duly accomplished detailed estimates form, including a summary sheet indicating the unit prices of construction materials, labor rates, and equipment rentals used in coming up with the bid. Cash flow by quarter. Submission and receipt of bids. Bid submission may be done manually or electronically online. However, bidders should only select one mode of submission, either manual or electronic. The address for receipt of bids submitted manually is Back Conference Room, 3rd floor, DPWH MOFDEO, Barangay 26, Ingo Oak City, Misamis Oriental. For electronic submission, electronic bids _Misamis Oriental 1 at dpwh.gov.ph. Modification of bids. Bidders may modify their bid before the deadline for the receipt of bids. In case of modification, bidders shall not be allowed to retrieve their original bid, but shall only be allowed to send another bid, equally sealed, properly identified, linked to their original bid, and marked as modification and stamped received by the back. Withdrawal of bids. Bidders, through a letter, may withdraw their bids or express their intention not to participate in the bidding before the deadline for the submission and receipt of bids. They shall no longer be allowed to submit another bid for the same contract, either directly or indirectly. Withdrawal of bids after the deadline shall be subject to appropriate sanctions. The financial component of the bids of each past bidder shall be evaluated using non-discretionary criteria, including arithmetical corrections for computational errors, and thus determine the correct total calculated bid process. The back shall automatically disqualify any total calculated bid price which exceeds the ABC. The following factors are to be considered in the evaluation of the bid prices. Completeness. No price and required item due to the government, RA 12,009. Indicating a 0 or a dash free to the government. All prices are deemed to include all taxes. Bids not addressing or providing all of the required items in the bidding documents, including, where applicable DOQ, shall be considered non-responsive. Arithmetical corrections. Bid prices in figures versus words prevail. Total price per item versus unit price for the item as extended or multiplied by the quantity of that item. Unit price for the item as extended or multiplied by the quantity of that item prevails. Stated total price versus actual sum of prices of component items. Actual sum of prices of component items prevails. Unit cost in the detailed estimate versus unit cost in BOQ. Unit cost in BOQ prevails. Amount in price schedule versus amount in bid form. Amount in bid form prevails. Post-qualifications. Legal requirements. Licenses, certificates, permits, agreements, and non-inclusion in blacklist. Technical requirements. Key personnel, minimum work experience requirements should be satisfied. Availability and commitment of major construction equipment and materials and laboratory equipment. Performance in ongoing government and private contracts. Negative slippage of at least 15% in any project. or a negative slippage of at least 10% in each of 2 or more contracts. Failure of the contractor to commence repair works on ongoing contracts within 7 calendar days and to complete them within 30 calendar days after receipt of the procuring entity's notice of defects and deficiencies. Failure of the contractor to commence repair works on contracts with pending certificates of acceptance within 30 calendar days and complete them within 90 days after receipt of the procuring entity's notice of defects and failures. Substandard quality of work as per contract plans and specifications, or unsatisfactory performance of the contractor's obligations as per contract terms and conditions at the time of inspection. Financial requirements. Bid price proposal. Required committed line of credit in the amount specified and over the period stipulated in the bidding documents, when applicable. NFCC, within 5 calendar days from receipt by the bidder of the notice from the back that the bidder has the LCB, MIAB, MAB, or HRB, the bidder shall submit the following. All the eligibility documents supporting its PhilJEP certificate of registration, platinum membership, its latest income and business tax returns filed for the preceding quarter, which should not be earlier than 2 quarters from the date of submission and receipt of bid, and other appropriate licenses and permits required by law and stated in the bidding document. The BAC shall recommend to the HOPE the award of contract to the bidder with the LCRB after the post-qualification process has been completed. Within 10 calendar days from receipt by the winning bidder of the notice of award, the following conditions should be complied before the contract may be awarded. Submission of the following documents by the winning bidder. Valid JVA if applicable. A valid PCAB license and registration for the type and cost of the procurement project to be bid for foreign bidders in infrastructure projects, when the treaty or international or executive agreement expressly allows submission of such license and registration as a precondition to the notice of award, or the SEC certificate of registration of the foreign corporation, or the SEC certificate of registration of the foreign consulting firm, or the authority or license from the appropriate government agency or professional regulatory body of the foreign professionals engaging in the practice of regulated professions and allied professions, where applicable. Posting of performance security by the winning bidder in accordance with Section 68 of this IRR. Signing of the contract by the parties. Common errors in the submission of bids. Failure to submit original copy of the surety bond certified by the Insurance Commission, indicating the name of project, the procuring entity, and name of contractor. Shorter bid validity and bid security validity period. Overlapping of pledge equipment and committed key technical personnel. Failure to indicate the validity of bid in the bid form. Late submission of bids. Failure to submit supporting documents, such as the certification of availability of equipment from the equipment lessor vendor for the duration of the project, if equipment pledge is to be least purchased. Negative slippage in the ongoing projects, negative 15% or more, or negative 10% in each of the 2 or more ongoing projects. Unsatisfactory CPS rating. Incomplete pages of bid documents, technical and financial. Authority of the signatory to sign on behalf of the bidder. Single proprietor. Signatory should be the owner, proprietor only. Corporation cooperative. Board secretary's certificate and board resolution. Joint venture resolution agreement. Partnership, as indicated in the articles of partnership.
Also to Department Order number 1110 series of 2024, that DPWH has officially mandated ISO 901-2015 certification as an additional requirement in the bidding documents. The Bids and Awards Committee reminds all prospective bidders of their obligation to fully and truthfully disclose all ongoing unawarded but not yet started contracts, including DPWH, other government and private contracts. Failure to submit and declare any ongoing unawarded but not yet started contract constitute a ground for disqualification and imposition of appropriate sanctions. Procurement activities, issuance, downloading of bidding documents, including until 80 copies of procurement unit for it must be the following websites: DPWH website, www.dpwh.gov.ph, MGH website, www.dpwh.gov.ph. Receipt of bids, drafting of bidding notifications on July 2026 until 10 a.m. at DPWH Smart Bureau. Opening of bids on July 2026 at 262227 special road fund motor vehicles users charge in DEC. As per Public Act 11,231, installation and facilities, roadway lighting along Butuan City, Kaulayanan City, Iligan City Road. -782 kilometer 1280 plus -547 kilometer 1 kilometer 160. Major category works: electrical works, construction, road safety system, solar lead street lights, solar studs, signalization. 62 construction of bridge, Barangay Kibanban, Station 12 plus 273 to Station 12 plus 322, Balingasag, Misamis Oriental. Major category works, bridges, construction, concrete superstructure with driving parts. 26 construction of road, Salay to Barangay Kaulayanan, Sugbongcogon, Misamis Oriental. Major category roads, construction, PCCP. For technical and financial documents, please refer to the sample on the screen. It is a mandatory requirement that the bid and supporting documents should be hard and properly done. Thank you.
Thank you, Engineer Cesar. So are there any further concerns or clarifications? Just a reminder that for request for clarification should be submitted within the periods prescribed in the bidding documents, and only written clarifications issued through a supplemental or bid bulletin shall modify the bidding documents. So if there are no further concerns or clarifications, thank you for your participation. Any motion for the adjournment of this pre-bid conference for civil works? I move for the adjournment of this pre-bid conference civil works dated July 17, 2026. There being no further matters to discuss, and it is moved and seconded that this pre-bid conference for civil works dated July 17, 2026 on 11:10 a.m. is hereby adjourned. Thank you and have a good day.